Hi guys, Tracie here. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon in California. Anyway, sorry to be so close, but if I do these videos, if I'm talking, I'd have to get a microphone, which I don't have yet. So that's why I try not to be so close in your face. Anyway, the topic for today is non-attachment. And non-attachment, I'll tell you what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean detachment, as in you have to leave a situation because you're going to be emotionally invested in it. It doesn't mean isolating. It doesn't mean not caring. It means that you're not attached to what? To your emotions. I mean, let's face it. Everything is about feelings, right? Hurt feelings or psychological pain is around feelings, and it shows up in the body. So if you tell a story in your head and you think that it's true, of course you wouldn't be telling it a story, you'd be telling it like it's true. You are reacting to those beliefs and you will feel it emotionally. And so to be in a place of non-attachment means that you can participate in life. You can show up and you're not afraid that you'll get hurt feelings. And it does mean that you care. It means that you are actually able to be present for other people, to actually listen and to hear them without reacting. So to be non-attached means you stop reacting. You totally care. You care more than when you were reacting, because when you're reacting, you're always trying to protect yourself or you're blaming them for your hurt feelings. And the purpose of this whole thing is to help other people to become free of their reactions. Because when you can say what you want and you're considerate, you're not having to, form your words in all of these confusing ways. Like there was a time when I couldn't even say something to somebody because they would tell someone else or they would take it the wrong way. And next thing I know, I'm afraid of other people's reactions, or I'm not even telling my own truth. And so when I found out that our suffering is created by us, we create our own suffering. At first, I didn't believe it. I went up to this lady who said that, and I said, what do you mean we create our own suffering? If somebody slapped me in the face, how did I create that? What's my part in that? Anyway, I was open to know. And the reason that I was is because I knew that if I create my own suffering or my own misery, then I can uncreate it, or I can create my own joy. So I was very interested to find out if it's true. And of course, I just didn't believe what she said or anyone else that said it. I had to find out for myself. And what I discovered is it is true. My pain was caused by my own beliefs. I mean, yes, I believed that what other people believed. If the news said something, if my teacher said something. Oh, and by the way, I just want to I want to give credit to, I've had 3 pretty awesome teachers, actually 4, or many, but 4 stand out for me. One is Byron Katie. Byron Katie, she writes, her first book, I believe, was Loving What Is. And she does this work where there's 4 questions. You ask yourself, is it true? Can I absolutely know it's true? How do I react when I believe that thought? And who would I be without that thought? And so after doing tons and tons of Byron Katie's, I started to see my own projections. I started to see that what I was thinking other people were thinking were my thoughts. The second teacher is David Hawkins. Not to be confused with Stephen Hawking, the physicist. David Hawkins is a psychiatrist, or he passed away several years ago. He wrote this book called Power versus Force, and many others. I have all his books, and I actually met him and conversed with him on email. And his books are kind of left brain analytical, but I learned so much from this guy about the ego, and he gave a bunch of information to keep the brain busy, so the brain or the ego undoes itself. And he's so funny. He's, with most people, you can just type up their name, like Byron Katie, David Hawkins, and see them do their work or their lectures, like free on YouTube. It's really cool. And my third teacher, and not all in that order, was Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now and the New Earth, and bringing the presence of awareness was pretty powerful. Anyway, the guy's kind of he's not really dramatic in his talking, but the information is really powerful. And my fourth teacher, which was my first one, is actually Jesus. And I studied scripture. I wanted to know about God and this punitive God, and in order to find that out, the only information was the Bible. So I studied the Bible for 25 years, and really I was interested in what did Jesus have to say. And as your consciousness changes, so does your interpretation. So there were some pretty, it's one thing to believe that Jesus existed and call yourself a Christian. It's another thing to apply the principles that Jesus taught to be Christ-like. So those are my four primary teachers, and along my path, I have met so many wonderful people. Everybody is my teacher, and I'm always learning. So to get to this place that is non-attachment is to not react to my own thoughts in my emotions. And if I get triggered, and a trigger is an emotional reaction, it can come out in a behavior or not. Most of the time it comes out in an attitude. And so if I get triggered, I just do a Byron Katie. And I see that it actually existed in my mind, because it's not circumstances that cause suffering. It's our thoughts about circumstances. It's always my belief about that will make me sad or make me mad. And I think to bring that into someone's awareness, because you're no longer powerless. You're no longer dependent or codependent in the world, so other people don't have to change their behaviors or their words in order for me to feel okay. I mean, this is like powerful stuff. People are like depressed and angry, and basically the system is kind of crazy, and the world right now is really crazy. And my intention of doing any of these videos is to help in any way with suffering. It's like one time, you buy a lottery ticket and you go into this fantasy of what it would be like to have all of this money and all of this, like, excuse me, financial security. And then I thought I would share it with all my friends, my family, my kids. And but I think this gift is greater than money, because it frees you from your suffering, your psychological suffering, which does in fact affect the body. So it's a physical, mental, and emotional freeing. And I think it's the greatest gift that one can share. And since I've been doing this and practicing it, it's my gift to share. There's no strings attached. There's no attachment to what you do with it. I hope that you get free from your suffering, at least in one way. But whatever you do with it, it's your business. Because I learned when you give a gift or you share something, what somebody does with it is none of my business. I remember there was a time when, and I'm sure you guys had this experience, where somebody would ask to borrow money, and so you say yes and you give them money, only to find that they went clothes shopping, and you now had an expectation on what they should do with the money that they borrowed, even though you decided to give it to them. So all of these things are on expectations, are attachments. They're emotional attachments to what I think other people should be. And one thing I discovered, when you want to know the truth, you can never know for certain what's going on with someone else. You can never know their intent. If they're telling you the truth, You can believe them, but you can't absolutely know it. You don't even know what they're feeling. And so to try to get to your truth by figuring out someone else, you're never going to get to it. And besides, if I think that I know what you're thinking, those are my thoughts. Those aren't your thoughts. And so no matter what I think, they're my thoughts. And I can project them onto you, but ultimately I can't get to my truth by trying to figure you out. So this non-attachment that I'm talking about is, after looking at a lot of beliefs, you get to a place where you're not attached to your emotions. And it's very caring. To want to be detached is to really not care, because you don't want to show up to a place because somebody's there that's going to trigger you or has a lot of drama. So non-attachment is really the undoing. And being on a spiritual path isn't becoming anything, it's undoing. It's just an undoing, seeing all of the false beliefs that cause suffering. Anyway, this isn't my usual video, but I was thinking, oh my God, there's like so much information that it would be really hard for me to put it to music. You guys would be... Anyway, enough said. Thanks for listening. Peace to you.